Welcome everybody, it's the Crypto Sniper. Yes, let's get the camera to focus, amazing. As soon as I go live, it goes, make him all dull. Glad to be with you, nice. Maybe I'll drop the light here. Coming to you from Panama. Hola, ¿cómo está? Glad to be with you. Hit the like button, get the algorithm full, please, to get us started. We want to give you a trade that's actually to the long side in crypto. What a dangerous thing to say. What a dangerous thing to say. One has to think in these times, oh dear, because Bitcoin ain't looking so good. No, sir. Glad to be doing an update. Please help us. We'll do more if we get more love and we get higher, bigger numbers. Please. Help me, help you. Remember that one? I think it was, what was it? It was Tom Cruise in, what was that movie called? Anyway, someone in the chats, tell me again. What was it? Jerry Maguire. Was it Jerry Maguire? Was that the name of the movie? Anyway. We're going to show you why we don't particularly like what Bitcoin's doing at the moment. It doesn't look that optimistic. It still has a decent chance, given enough time, of 150. Yes, maybe. So it may do. We're going to remind you that we're the person that said Bitcoin dominance turned, but our friends, we have a friend in Ben Cowan who says, no, you should not ever be buying shit coins. Anything but Bitcoin is a shit coin. That's right. He's been saying that. So we want to just challenge him on that. He claimed a win for Bitcoin dominance, and we say, no, sir, 3 bags full. So we'll argue and fight and cause a bit of drama, and we'll talk to you about the trade. TAO is what we're going to be talking to you about as a great setup, how it was getting ready, how the community is in before you, but still there's quite a lot of juice available to be squeezed on this orange, and we'd like you to have it as well. Hey, you're also pumping our bags, I suppose. It's not a shill. We don't tend to talk about the smaller cap. I don't even know what cap it is. It just was well set up, so we started to speak about it. It's also known as Bittensor. Glad to have the Germans in the house. The Germans are in the house. There's been a 2-year accumulation rate. Yes, we're going to be covering it for you. FRZ in profit. Why would you cover TAO at range highs? Oh, but there's more to come, my friend. We'll be showing you about that. Let's see if we can play. I might need to put this on big volume because I think our friend Ben Cowan is recanting his Bitcoin dominance vibe. You may know that we took him on about Bitcoin dominance. In fact, let's just cover that. We'll go share screen, Francis. Don't forget to share screen. Always a very foolish boy when it comes to the sharing screen from a laptop, and he doesn't see. I should actually get the YouTube up on my device to make sure I'm actually doing what I promised to do, people. Let's do that right here and make sure the volume is off. And check it. So we're going to go to the charts. Let's go to the charts. We'll be coming back to TAO. Let's just give you that BTC because Bitcoin kind of still is the big guy in the room. We've never not said that. And it doesn't help when it looks bad. And this is why we say it looks bad. Over here. So if you are looking over here, friends, this is Bitcoin, and we're also going to do the Bitcoin dominance. Let's just show you that. By the way, you can see that it had a really harsh sell up top here. It was about 126. I think that's the session high. A lot of people, suddenly you got the algorithm on X. The algorithm on X wants to tell you that it's a rotation trade. You should be getting out of gold, silver, and all the precious metals and into Bitcoin. Let's measure that. Pompliano and all these NSA type, agency type guys. You've had an 18% correction from your all-time high. That was roughly the 6th of October. We are now the end of the month. Congratulations. My God, where has the year gone? 31st of October. Are you telling me that there's only really about 60 days of shoplifting days left for Christmas? I can't believe that. Not even. In fact, for 30 November and then 25, we're in about 55 days. Get lifting, boys. Get lifting. We know you haven't been making the money in the crypto market. We know that. You got to get slick. Otherwise, no presents for little Fifi. Anyway, 18% down. Where's it now in terms of its move down? Well, let's measure again. Go back, measuring tool. Let's lock that on, won't you? To the top and to where it is now, where it's looking a little off. We'll explain why Bitcoin is looking a little bit off. 13.9% down. Now, can I tell you, gold hasn't fallen that far. Gold has not fallen that far. The rotation trade that all your Bitcoin maximalists gave you are lying to you. They said, that's it. It's all going to turn into rotation. You have a guy called Leopard You have Pompliano. You have so many Bitcoin shills that flooded my FinTwit X feed when gold started to correct. It's a top. It's all over. It's all going into Bitcoin. No. Certainly no evidence at this point that that is indeed happening. You are 13.91% down. Let's just compare it super quickly with gold. I mean, this is a crypto channel. We don't spend too much time on gold, but we do use it as a cross comparison. So how much is gold down during the same time? That was the high. Either of those will do. At its absolute worst, it was 11% and is currently 9% down. So actually, gold is less down. Now it is a lower beta. It's probably still a higher sell-off event for gold than it is for Bitcoin, given their respective betas. But in absolute terms, it is not anywhere near as much down as Bitcoin. There could be another wave of selling for gold, and I don't think that's particularly good for Bitcoin. Here's what we have for Bitcoin. We've highlighted these key levels of significance before, and they're showing up again. Let's delete that line. Let's go up a slight time frame, and we'll show you why we are saying you are probably looking at letting go that key level of 108. Interesting to see other people like the great Mathis talking about the key level that is 108. Yep, why is 108 such a key level? Because it's a bit of an unusual number to be talking about, 108. It is a round number, but it's not a super round number. That was because of your M top there and your support there, which was 93. Remember, we've been talking about 93. Now, that's been 2 years we've been talking about. No, it can't be 2 years. It feels like 2 years. It's been a long time. 93 was a key level. 93 and 108 were key levels. You went through this flags, apex on the key level. You had that squeezy little upside HVF, which was when we're saying it's doing a gold at 2,000 and it's going to pop up. It did pop up, but the follow through after getting to here wasn't much. Marginally higher high, another marginally higher high. Classic topping behavior. Classic topping behavior for now, short, medium term. Are we going to have a demand destroying event? Is it what's necessary before we get our upside? I want to make sure that this is still showing on the stream. Let's just see, because you guys are kind of quiet out there. You're talking and you're wondering, are the guys seeing what I'm seeing? Yes, they are. Good. Okay. Keep talking in the chat. I'll look and refer to your chat. So what's actually happened is since this period here, July of this year, it's not actually been that great for crypto. Even though you did actually get an all-time high by a nose before getting spanked down. So there is real hardcore selling across the tops here. And you've been supporting at that key level we gave you. Yes, key level of significance. You'll learn that in HVF method. Click the link below. There it is. Get your free mini series and subscribe to our Substack where we talk about the markets generally and where the world is going. Only 2 issues a month. And we never sell your email or put any marketing in that. So you can see the support in there coming in at the 108. This was a key level of resistance over here, remember? And then this is how you overcome key levels. First, they're resistance. Then you technically run them, and we call it iceberging. You get a small little shark's nose above the waterline for a little gander about where the fishermen are. And then you see here, and then you form a squeeze on top of it as support. You break above it, and you come back, and then it serves as support. However, in this instance, every time you've got a broadening structure, you had one here, you had a broadening structure, what happened? You actually violated the lower line. You see the one I'm doubling up there? You violated it and broke down. That saw you trade quite some distance below the 108. This is how you violate a key level of significance on the way back down again. First, it serves as support. Then it surrenders once, and the rally is weak. And now you're back down. The 108 that was resistance turned support is being unwound and turning into surrendering support that is going to turn back into resistance at some point. So that's what's happening in this a larger scale of Bitcoin. This is not particularly bullish. The volatility has also gone up. You pump and you come even further down on a dump. It's not a good technical chart for Bitcoin. Is it a good technical chart for Bitcoin? No, it is not a good tech on this time frame under review. It is not a good technical point for Bitcoin. Let's have a look on the lower time frames, because that was the daily. I want to take you into We'll drop not to the 4 hourly just yet. We'll drop to, let's go half day. Let's go 12 and just zoom in. So this is what I'm showing you, the latest broadening structure. Technical with Francis. We are going technical with Francis on crypto. Yes, hit the like if you appreciate a technical update from Francis on crypto, where we start with the king. Elvis is the king. Long live the king. Bitcoin, NSA token. That's right. So many people get angry if I say it's NSA token. No, the cyberpunks were real. Yeah, they were real. They were also infiltrated with NSA agents. And of course, and even if it wasn't fully infiltrated by a certain degree of NSA agents, they were all mimicking the 1996 to make a mint. It certainly got co-opted very quickly. They will never let you have your own money. Hear me now. This is something you have to get over a little bit. This triggers a lot of people going angry. Hit the dislike button. If you think Bitcoin was made for you, you have an imaginary Japanese friend, he was working for you, saved it, and now all the institutions are shilling it. Jamie Dimon has flipped. Of course, Lowell Finkelstein is very pro-Bitcoin and especially tokenization. That's how he's going to take all your money. You're going to have to register all your assets with an NFT and put it on the blockchain. Yep, it's all coming as part of. We will take all your shit and you will be high on pharmaceuticals and antidepressants, and we'll be able to terminate you anytime we like via medical interventions. That's right. That's how they own you. You become their slaves. They become gods over your life. Anyway, back to the technicals after that cheery little newsflash from Francis on a Friday morning, just to put you in the right mindset for your weekend ahead. Indeed. Never mind. There's a beautiful life to be had anyway. We deal with that. That is another broadening structure with an ascent. That is the splitter right here. That is the line. People are starting to copy us. They're starting to copy us technically, but they don't want to use our names. They want to make it like they came up with it. You know, you get people that follow you and say, yes, I have a method very similar to what you do. They've been watching for 2-3 years. I say, I bet you do. And then they go, you see, I draw this like just like this. And then they tweak it slightly and they do something a little bit different. And they go, you see, that's mine. You can do whatever you want. It's the highest form of flattery. You can call it whatever you want. But this is HVF method. It's done here, and we show it freely online, and people can learn and grow. Just don't steal. It's just not cool. But anyway, rather you use the names that you've learned from the people you've learned from. But anyway, most people won't. They're so desperate to have something of their own. They want to become me without being me. Then they need me to die so that they can be the new me. The 108 is over there, and so you're getting a combination of grinding support, basing ascending grind line, again, phraseologies of ours, for the deconstructed atomized components of individual technical structures, which is the lower rung of a broadening structure with an ascent as dictated by the splitter, and a capping ascending grind line like that, which is the top end of that same broadening structure, all on a bear pole. A bear pole. You don't want to go up on the bear pole because that signals continuation pattern. If it were descending by nature as dictated by the splitter and the draw, you could be hammering out a low on a bear pole. In the opposite way, on an upside pole, it's better to have a downside via the splitter that leads to the potential upside continuation. If you have a broadening one, as we did on Bitcoin, and I will show you in a bit, and gold before the sell-off, it often points to a reversal. So this is by definition continuation, and it has all formed on that same very key level of significance of 108 that nobody else is talking about, apart from people that have watched our videos. Yes, that's right. And follow us and our charts on X. And I'm delighted for them, and I'm glad them. And that's always cool to pay respects to people that you get ideas from. But anyway, so this will probably lead to maybe a rise up to the splitter level one more time, another exhaustion. The more it goes up, the more it's prone to exhausting itself. It can no longer make new highs. You saw how badly it got spanked on the 126 high. It ran the low. So the higher up it goes, the bid stack is absolutely hollow and empty. And it's just Michael Saylor trying to squeeze a few more in there with leverage, and then there's no bid stack below. Boom, impatient people trying to chase the pump. This is not a good period for Bitcoin. The suspicion is whatever happens, you might get up to the splitter here, but you're going to come down and you'll probably break this basing ascending grind line at some point, which will include a break of the 108, and this time you'll probably go either to the key level of significance of 100, which can mean a technical break. Remember, when we teach key levels of significance, which you will learn in our amazing recorded content, by the way, we had a beautiful testimonial from someone who said, wow, the level of the content that when we come in the community and the detail of learning, I realized that I've been in a casino till now. I've just made whatever I've made, bit of luck, bit of being biased on the right trend. I had no idea. Lovely, and thank you very much for that beautiful testimonial. This is bringing new, real method to my madness. Many people are shocked by the quality of our content once they come in terms of how it's recorded. The link is below to book a call. What you could have is the key levels are typically run like you had the 108 run. You see the 108 was there and you had this dip through, and then you bounced above it, and then you try to hold it. And this is all a 108 story. It is just a broadening structure that's just technically run the 108 and is now broadening on it. And the next key level is 100. That probably means you're going to trade upper 90s in another sell-off at some point. And if that builds on itself, let's clean our face a little bit. The next level that nobody will be telling you because it's an odd number is 93, because it's been a key level for a very long time. It's been a key level for a very long time, the 93 range. So the next level after the 100 and the 108, it's quite interesting. That is roughly 8,000 to the 100, and it's another 7 and a bit. Remember, you'll run the 93 as well, so you'll trade possibly in the 92s, maybe even if it's violent, you might get a dip spike to 91. They're about 7 to 8 grand apart. So that is the range at the moment of falls. That's what the flag did, again, on the range between 100 and 108. You set up the flag. The technical key level just run well through the 108 to the upside. The $100 just run to the downside, and the splitter of your flag is like that. But the key levels were dictated by the top end and the bottom end. Price never loses its significance, even when you get things at angles. And this is a lot about 108, and that's the angles that are coming. It is bearish for Bitcoin. It is bearish for Bitcoin. Generally. And let's get to the BTC dominance. This is the thing our friend is telling us that he won the argument on. Mr. Cohen. He said he won the argument, BTC dominance, because it did a spike on a 19 billion liquidation event. No, sir, you didn't win anything. The high, the technical call that we made is that you have made the top in Bitcoin dominance. Remember, this is someone who says the following, and I want to warn you why I think this is dangerous. It's because it's dangerous that we're talking about it. It's because we think it's dangerous. But I think he's changing his mind, which is great. It's great to see someone who changes his mind, and he deserves credit for it. Let's actually play and show it. But before we do that, let's be clear about what we said. We said that is the high for Bitcoin dominance. This is a trend change event. You had a couple of smaller rising wedges in there, but you also had a far larger channel. I think that might need to be in log scale because it's a long time. By the way, we were the original callers of Bitcoin dominance way down when it was in a stall box. Let's just quickly bring that into view. Quite some time ago, down here in this orange box, we said Bitcoin looks like it wants to get out. You want to be mainly in Bitcoin. We don't hate on NSA token in terms of technicals. We're totally dispassionate about that. It's more about when is it time to flip. This is how you build your wealth, getting the pivots right. That is where you are. And this is another version of that, and a massive 19 billion. To be clear, the liquidations on FTX and 3 Arrows were sub 2 billion. That Trump family that just picked up absolute billions at your cost on a tariff announcement that saw them attack the crypto market and dump it, and they all happened to be short and made an absolute bundle. Now the sons of politicians are day trading crypto, front running their dad's announcements. Just think about the world you're living in and tell me that trust is there in the Western hegemony. Just tell me that you voted right, and he's got a master plan, 5D chess. Trump's going to win it for you. Trump's going to be doing this. He is enriching himself while sending money to the Zionists, bragging with his Schwab Zionist friend who made $1 billion on Palantir and everything else just before contract announcements. They're even telling you to your face how absolutely unbelievably wealthy they're getting with leverage and ramps and pumps and dumps, providing they tip their hat to this great Zio cause. Anyway, that is a rising wedge. You had an attempt to get out on an extreme event that was 19 billion compared to 2 billion, the biggest liquidation. There were the number of 60 million crypto accounts, 55 million crypto accounts, reduced to 100,000, 10,000, 14,000, literally like 99.4% wiped out. And the list was long on a variety of exchanges. So this was an absolute outsider versus insider harvesting event. And it was extreme. And you didn't even get near to the previous top on Bitcoin dominance. This has turned, and the next major moves, if there is to be any, is more likely to be coming from the alt market. But credit to our friend Ben Cohen, he is actually changing his view. Here is him talking to our friends in Cape Town, Rand. Let's play this nice and loud, actually. I better put the speakers on. I haven't put system audio on. Let's see what he says. The overwhelming bull case for Bitcoin dominance has become less clear. Let's say it again. That's all you need to say. That's it, Ben. So it's not a W, is it? It looks like you're walking that back. By the way, just to be clear, we want to make sure this is what his original position was when he was reacting to us. The real crypto cycle is this. Few people breach Bitcoin dominance. Few people preach. A few people, that means not many, preach Bitcoin dominance and talk about good ways to invest in crypto long term. Altcoin gurus, by the way, definition of altcoin, all other cryptos apart from Bitcoin. Altcoin gurus that promise alt season each and every day. This was a bit of a retort towards us on his Bitcoin dominance. Maybe it wasn't about us. Maybe this is just what he was saying, but we clearly were taking the alternative view. Mock anyone who does not buy their shitcoin narrative and tells them to have fun staying poor. We do not say to anybody, have fun staying poor. That's little crypto newbies that trying to act cool, who wear baseball caps on their head backwards. Sorry, we're not 14, 18, or 21. BTC dominance goes higher. BTC dominance goes higher. This, by the way, was taken on October the 11th. October the 11th. There you go. You can see it on white. This is what we challenged him on. This is what he challenged him on, and he got a little bit furious. He blocked us, then unblocked us, then didn't know what to say. The same gurus then act like they're the victims and go on emotional tirades. Emotional tirade. This sounds like an emotional tirade. We're having a laugh. We are on X and YouTube, which we did call him out on both. So it does sound very well customized to us. Trying to get people on their side. They claim the toxic BTC maxis. I do think, and I do say that, by the way, there are a weird number of belief Japanese imaginary friends. So this is us. It may not be meant for us, but it sure sounds like it is. I'm afraid to say Bitcoin had its run, and we called it when it was time in that box, Bitcoin to dominate. We did it, and I showed you it technically. And we've got the YouTubes you can go and watch. At that point, Ben was right until he wasn't. And that's what we were going. Don't shill shitcoins and then act like a victim anytime they drop. We don't act like victims when things drop. No, sir. No, sir. Altcoins are like penny stocks. Most go to zero. In actual fact, the small alt caps do mostly go to zero. We spend our time in the top 10 typically. And today is one of those rare days where we're going to talk to you about a token that is not in the top 10. Most of the time, we are talking about XRP, number 3, XLM, Monero, which is probably the furthest out of the top 10, and it's probably around 15 most of the time. Tron, BNB, which has been disproportionately strong, and a number of others. So it seems like since the 11th, and we are now the 31st, someone might owe us an apology, or at least is turning face before it looks off and wrong, But maybe you'll give another emotional tirade about that bald man on crypto and on YouTube. Otherwise, maybe you should just take the L. He said he no longer feels so confident on Bitcoin dominance. He shouldn't feel confident. The biggest event ever occurred, and it couldn't hold on to one of it. So let's get to the shitcoin we're shilling. No, we're not shilling a shitcoin. I know nothing about the project. I wouldn't shill something I know nothing about. I just watch charts and I talk technically. So let's talk about something or other that may have a higher probability, potentially on the basis of a technical assessment only, that could go up and help others make some money. And you shouldn't marry it. You shouldn't love it. You shouldn't do anything with it apart, if you were so inclined, non-advisory. We are doing as a community, and it has already moved in our favor. Potentially consider a trade. Without education, you will lose your money. By the way, without clear understanding of crypto, it is always a dangerous environment. You can get hurt. Let's talk about this potential crypto. Now, I'm not sure Coinbase is my favorite. That's even worse over there. Which one do I like? TAO, it is Bittensor. And I'd like you to tell me about Bittensor. I'd like you to inform me. I've yet to grok it, Google it, schmoogle it, or anything. Sometimes I think the less I know, the better. And I just cold-bloodedly trade it and close, ignorance being bliss, on the basis of it's not a fundamental trade. It's a technical one. And it will fail or it won't. And that is what's called dispassionate. It's anything but shilling. It is anything but shilling. Now, I'm absolutely mesmerized with that. Such a nice chart somewhere, and now it's gone all bad. Let's see if it's better on USDT. We are going to be showing you TAO Bittensor. Hold on 1 minute while I change my feet. Let's see if it's better on Mexi. That's the chart I'm looking for. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mexi is probably the one that's had it for the longest. You have a little bit more history. So the only reason we'll be here is not because of we shill shitcoins. No, we don't. We spend most of our time in the top market cap. I don't even know which number this is. It's definitely not in the top 10. Let's find out. Let's find out. What does that mean? It means you have to watch out for potential. We went too far there. TAO, there it came up. Number 27. It's number 27. That is probably the furthest out we've been in absolute ages. And it's still reasonable. What's its market cap? 712 million. Believe you me, there's people trading. I call it trading, buying, investing in market caps that are incredibly smaller than 2/3 of a billion by market cap. And there are people who have been buying stocks smaller than that. So let's go back to the chart. Why are we here? Because it's potentially technically interesting. That is why. What can you expect? Lower volume cryptos can have bedwet moments. Thanks for hitting the like, by the way, for giving you the heads up and trying to save you from losing money in the crypto markets and potentially get something that will give you some upside in a time where the market's all a little bit indifferent and weak. So we put our drawing tool on there, designed and custom for our community, for which you would also get access once you have learned what it means, how it means, why it's there, where it's generated from, so that it truly has some sense of meaning to you. We are on a log scale chart, so I will show you both regular and log. It's quite a reasonable time frame, so it's typically what we do. But our call is, and somebody said in the comments right at the beginning of the stream, why would you chase near a localized high? And he's right in some senses, but we have an extra weapon that says, this is super interesting, it just triggered. It just triggered a macro trade. Now it can pull back in. It was a tiny little pubic hair across the line, but it is telling us that it's showing preparedness to run the third high, which is over there. And this pullback was relatively laid back by nature. Some might say that that was in the falling wedge category. Again, our splitter, which is our unique HVF manner of how we draw and trade these markets, gives you a nice little squeezy bump. that came all the way up here after a flush out. When did that flush out occur? On Ben Cohen's BTC dominance pump and fizzle all the way back down into the rising wedge dump. That's right. On that moment of liquidation that occurred. And that's pretty strong for a smaller cap. For me, 27 is a smaller cap. For some people that are degens and trade 700 on the market cap, 27 is actually a big cap. Hey, there's 700 million market cap on this thing. There's something going down with this thing that at some point it might make some money for some people. What about that target? The target and the second interim are pretty close. That tells me you're probably going to be in blow-off mode and do both. 1630 and 1758. Let's just be clear. It's currently a $400 token at the moment. It's 477. It's 477, and you've just heard me say 1758, which means the 1759 probably run and you don't stop on the dot. It's not that precise, especially if you're in a blow-off mode and doing the second interim and the full target in one major go. You're probably in a bit of a runaway spike. Some things happen. Somebody said, who knows, Donald Trumpenstein with Lowell Finkelstein might say something. One of them might come up with something. It's going to create a degree of mania. Is it in an environment that the general market is strong? No. Has it held up pretty well despite Bitcoin being rather weak? Actually, on this time frame, it has. This is all a squeezy Japanesey, as we like to say. Zoom, 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 back again, second impulse, third impulse down, and it's moving up. It's a fat funnel. It's a fat funnel. That means it can also drift back down all the way and still be valid. And we only accept being incorrect on this draw on the run of 245. That's a fat funnel. That's a fat funnel. You know, if you're getting in and you're over leveraged, you're going to get rinsed. That's why we have stopped marketing, sizing, and we understand our maximum allowable loss. So what do? How can you improve on that? You drop the time frame. You drop the time frame to see if there was any further structure. And that's exactly what we did. So let's go in. We're going to drop by normally 4 times, but that would not quite be a day. So we're going to go to the H12 and show you what we saw down there. And then we're going to conclude, well, H12 is still a little bit big. We're going to go even tighter. That was our primary macro target. We're going to have a look at what we saw in here. And here's where you get given a gift. You see, 245 is quite some long time away. However, more recently, barring a demand-destroying event or a hyper-liquidation, a la Trumpenstein, but they've already rinsed all that. They wait till all the margin is big and everybody is heavy with leverage in there so that they can steal loads of your money. Of course, they have all the crypto exchanges controlled by the same people that put them in power. They can tell, they can find out, they can see how many leverage. They aren't leveraged anymore. Retail has been rinsed. They have to wait for new money to come in. So it's quite likely that you stand a decent chance that that flush out to the downside will stand. And what has actually happened? You've had for yourself another little squeezy Japanesey. There was the flush out low. Note how strongly it rebounded. There you go, second impulse. Then this calming low volatility with an upward grind, a little bit of test of the high side range, a little bit of a test to the low side range, a hammer there. And now you triggered that small time frame over there, and you've actually put a whisker over the bigger structure, which takes you to 1758. Now, in this environment, in crypto, nobody should be looking at least a 4, maybe a 4.25x, looking the gift horse in the mouth in these times. You'd be probably the only guy up unless things turn. I hope to a degree that Bitcoin doesn't go too far down too fast. I'm just telling you what I see. It doesn't look that great right now. I also don't feel that optimistic for Bitcoin dominance. And XLM and XRP keep getting set back and pushed out. We're waiting for them. We're calling them. They're saying they're going to coming around the mountain when they come. Not yet. We said it's not today, tomorrow, or next week. There can still be a little bit more off, but we would like them to come someday. But for now, no. They haven't done. This guy looks ready. It's just done a wick over there. So now you have it. TAO market sniper, an above average possibility on balance of probabilities, OBP. If you ever see me say that on Twitter or X, under the crypto sniper or the market sniper, you will know that that means on balance of probabilities. We suspect that there is a better than likely odds chance of doing something quite exceptional, which is 4.25 times your money. Who'd like 4.25 times your money? How many of you in crypto would actually use it to do something like that? Maybe get a little bit of that. Maybe you should. You see, that doesn't go away. Put this on your phone while you're charging. You won't get your brain nuked. Or you could try this. If you have a lot of phones and a lot of charging, you could have one of these. Yeah, we went to our local vault. We picked up a sample of some of our stuff. That's getting expensive now. Don't worry, it'll be back in the vault. No point in robbing me. Very soon, I'm done showing it around. I like to touch it and see it every now and then, one or two. A sample here, a sample there, bring it out, play with it, fiddle with it, and take it home. And put it back where it's safe. 100 ounces, by the way, of silver is almost 4,700 Rand. And we expect that to go to 330 an ounce. So imagine then what it'll be worth. Okay, anyway, so I was diverging a little bit by talking about the precious metals. I do say, so here's the thing that pisses me off about the Bitcoin maxis, that gets Ben so angry with the YouTube guy and Twitter guy who's calling him out. Yeah, here's the thing that pisses me off. They go, if you understand Bitcoin, this is Jack Mailer. Jack Mailer, if you understand Bitcoin, you don't own anything else. You're all in. You see, right there, a kid that hasn't seen shit of life. He hasn't had to fight in a war for his country. He hasn't seen booms, busts, Enrons, long-term capital. He was still a star in his dad's bag. He's telling you that he's debunked portfolio theory. He's debunked portfolio theory. You don't need a property to live in, a property which is maybe let. You don't need a bar of silver. You don't need a bit of gold, a bit of crypto. You don't need portfolio. The smart thing is all in. This is the macho moment of poker stars. Shove all those chips right in there, boy. Everything to my shoes and underpants. You can have it all. I'm going all in. Macho man. Macho man. All in with the shades and the cigar, you know. No, actually, no. Maxis, don't destroy people like that on the possible biggest rug pull that comes from an NSA project. Don't destroy people like that. It pisses me off that little idiots with no life skill that are stars doing a copycat Michael Saylor treasury because they're so bright-eyed. They're so bright-eyed and fresh-faced. They know fuck all about how the world works. They know nothing about money, power, and wealth. And they are telling you, all in or you're a wussy. Wussy. That's their style. That's the crypto parlance that you get. And rotate out of gold. It's all going into Bitcoin. There is a lot of algorithm-driven BS narratives of strutting male testosterone horse shit out there. And you need to wake the fuck up and stop listening to a bunch of wankers. I'm here to tell you the facts. You don't go all in on anything, no matter how sure you think you are. The future is uncertain. That is why we say, on balance of probabilities, it is potential that it could do that slightly higher than normal. You can always be wrong. Ben Cowan, you didn't get a hat trick of highs, mate. Bitcoin dominance is probably topped, but I could be wrong. It's going to take a heck of a demand-destroying event, though, to bring the dominance back through. It doesn't look right. And I see you pivoting now, having claimed the win. You're wrong, friend. You're wrong. Mailers is wrong. Sailor is wrong. You went from liberty, getting government out of your lives, supposedly, securing your own central bank, your own money. They will never let you have your own money. The history of the world for millennia is you control the issuance of money to maintain your power. When you are infinitely rich, like these people are, the only thing that matters is how you at the top control the masses below you. It is about power. It's no longer about money. They have any item they want anywhere in the world, in any color they want. They have one for every day, every minute. They wipe their backsides with a Ferrari if they wanted to. That's how much money they truly have. The power and ensuring they stay there. When you have so much, your biggest threat is looking down. It is about maintaining your power. You do not let people have their own wealth system. And suddenly, Larry Finkelstein is your biggest promoter. Wake up. Don't be fooled by mailers. Don't be fooled by Bitcoin dominance maxis. I am calling out toxic Bitcoin maxis. That is 100% right. They are misleading you. You should be in physical things and digital things. Ask me, I know I've lost and made fortunes, more than most people in their lifetimes. Lost and made fortunes. And now I have things that don't go away. And that's physical. That's physical. And it's not just physical metals. I'm not just a gold bug. It just so happens to be the great thing for this epoch, for our time. This token I know virtually nothing about, and I almost don't care. It is a technical, dispassionate trade I do not trust, love, or anything. This is not a shill. This is technical trading masterclass brought to you by the crypto sniper right here, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can like it, you can love it, you can leave it, you can watch and show up and post a comment. You were wrong. It didn't go to 1758, and that's all good with me. It's a possibility with a higher probability associated to it, which allows for a very tight risk, which is a money management thing that going all in on Bitcoin absolutely isn't. Until you know how to manage losses, you will never survive in investing and trading. Look into these eyes for the likes of Ben Cowan, Jack Mahlers, Michael Saylor. You go all in on anything, your fucking loss is all. Do you understand? Do you understand? Those people are setting you up for a rug pull. They are telling you the history of financial portfolio theory does not matter. Ultimate Bitcoin dominance and everything else is garbage. They are telling you in subtle ways all in. They are shit in comparison to me because I actually have principles. There, you hear it. Shit. Scheiße. German. That's right. Because you need to stay in the game is far more important about how much money you make. All in is idiots. All in is macho poker stars, TV fantasia, bullshit reality fucking TV. Snap out of it, wake the fuck up. It's Friday, you need to wake the fuck up. You need to wake the fuck up and tell the people that are Bitcoin dominancing you, maxing you on your feed, pumping you, it can only go, and keeping on going all in. They are setting you back for years. I went all in on things I could only see with certainty, and I got destroyed countless times. You have to bear in mind, you can be wrong. Loss management is key to trading in anything. It is key to investing in anything. You will be rug pulled. You will be rinsed. That is how a system that is actually got a World Economic Forum, that has an asset manager with trillions, that has all the proxy voting power, that sees its CEO become part of the World Economic Forum as head, which has as a strapline, you will own nothing. What about them telling you what the fuck they're going to do to you? Don't you understand? Wake up. Stay alive. Loss management is fucking everything. Okay. How's your Friday going? Want some coffee? Let's have a look at the comments. They're going to be entertaining as usual. Okay. Francis is getting fired up. He sure is. He's in his camos. He's in his camos. Be careful. A sniper puts on his camos, and you should know. There's a firearm nearby. Okay. Remember our common enemy, gentlemen. You will eat the bugs and be happy. Exactly. Somebody understands. Somebody understands. I'm all in on Shinola silver. Don't be all in on anything, guys. That's the message. Even on the good stuff, which I think is the good stuff that will survive power outages, EMS. You still need other things. I still have cash Notes. I know it's devaluing, but in a certain set of circumstances, you need cash notes. I have them not always on me, by the way, for all the robber burger barons. I have them in places I can get access to, but you should prepare for outlier economic times. You have not seen the scale of what these bastards plan on bringing down on you in economic history, as far as it has been written. That is going to go a bit down here. And they have set more traps, booby traps. You're going to wake up like a 5-year-old in the Vietnamese jungle with every voodoo trap and every swinging piece of wood with thorns ready to pole at you. Every claymore mine set, every little wire ready to trigger you and blow you up. The whole game is survival. That is loss management. That is money management. That is optionality. That is having lots of things. Okay, so we will always have cash. Will we always have cash? I don't know. At some point, but bear in mind, if they want to call it closed, they have to give you time to bring it in and change it over. They may try say, where's your tax receipt for that? They may try a lot of things, but at least you have the cash and you can use it until it doesn't. I think they want to eliminate cash. They want to eliminate cash. Cash is data free. They want all your data. They have you on devices that are listening to everything you say. They see where you go on your incognito search and who you're surfing for and what you like. They see everything. They see it all. Mossad is in everything. Google has been scraping all your incognito searches instead of deleting it. They are all NSA, Mossad. You are far more observed than you ever realize. What about those of us that are middle-aged and don't have a ton of liquidity? Would you still recommend such a diverse portfolio? So the more you have, the more you can afford to be diverse. The less you have, the more you need to be concentrated in a few very sure winners. You need a combination of physical and digital. Even if you have $10 to your name, you need 5 of it in precious metals for me. And then you can play with 2 of it in crypto, and you can have 1 of it in cash, and you can have the other $3 in miners and maybe an equity in China. I did a portfolio breakdown that everyone totally for free can have, and it would be my hedge fund model. If I were running a hedge fund right now, I did the breakdown for you. It is a YouTube video on here. It might have been the Market Sniper, and it is a coupon coin, and it's cut in half. 50% precious metals physical, which is a combination of 30% gold, silver, and platinum, of which I would say have gold at least 15, have 10 silver, and maybe a smidgen, 10 or 20 silver, maybe 10 or 20 gold, between 15 and 20 gold, and then have 5% platinum, 3% platinum, maybe silver. If you're a low money, don't bother with the platinum. Just be 20% gold, 10% silver, or 15-15. And then I would have the other 20% of that half of the portfolio in miners. Yes, it's heavily resource. Yes, it's heavily precious metals. You have to, the smaller your pot is, the more narrow you're going to be, and you have to be accurate on them. Let me just tell you one thing I have as a high certainty, but never 100%, is that we are in a fiat and debt debasement epoch that started in 2020 with the collapse. That is where you were, and that is where you are. That means fiat and debt debasement. That means monetary metals will be the biggest outperforming commodity. Not oil. We've told people you're long gold, short oil, and oil has gone down. So that is the 50% of the portfolio. The other 50 is, I'd say, 30% in China and the Straits, the Chinese A50 and the Straits Index, which is Singapore. The money is going east, friends. The West is going to be far less consequential as a place. People's wealth is going to be destroyed on a fiat debasement hustle that they're well into already, and it's already happening. Hyperstagflation and 20% in crypto. So you have 2 halves, 20 and 30. Okay, 30 gold, silver, 20 miners, other equities. I wouldn't have any AI in there. I think it crashes first. And then 30, the indices of China, Singapore, and 20 in crypto. What would be in that crypto? Zero Zero. Remember that Dan Penner guy? Also, you can follow Jeff Berwick as well. Zero. He likes that one. Zero in Bitcoin right now. I might have had at the beginning of the run when we were breaking up, having some Bitcoin. I would have weighted heavy there. Now I would have the likes of Tron, XRP, XLM, and I think the other statist entrapment tokens that were never pretending to be about liberty. The worst thing about Bitcoin is that it captured the libertarians, the naive libertarians. It captured them all with the Japanese imaginary friend, and they all bought in, and they all left. So where do you see the top in the S&P 500? The top is already in gold ounces. That's all that matters. That's why I'm not interested in the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. There will be nominal re-ratings, even in dollars, but it's already re-rating in gold ounces. There is no basis of account once fiats are in debasement cycle, because all accounting was done in dollars, or if you live in Europe, in euros. All of those things are slipping dramatically. But because they're slipping against each other, you don't notice it as much. It's a synchronized fiat debasement. You have to look and measure your wealth and everything in gold ounces. That is how you survive this. The stock market is re-rating downwards. Yes, you just heard all-time highs. Yes, you just heard Nvidia made 5 trillion. They are re-rating downside in gold ounces. That's the facts. And Nvidia, Oracle, and a lot of these will turn out into mini Enrons, maybe full-blown Enrons to varying degrees in what follows this. HBAR is a status token, and it will be one of the winners. It's just not quite as nicely technically set up as some of the others I mentioned, but it will definitely be going up at some point. Will we have a demand-destroying event first? Because Bitcoin don't look like it's ready. It's got any umpapa to go higher, unless something changes quickly. We will change our opinion, and we'll be honest about it. The difference is we won't claim wins over other people when we reverse our opinion and they were right all along. That's the difference. I still think it's possible Bitcoin can get a 150 to the upside, but it's not looking like it's about to start that journey just yet. So 150,000 I can still see as possible for Bitcoin, but it might not. It might not. I'm just not a dominant call. It's a sort of inverted head and shoulder type thing. It's not something we go real probable maxi one, and right now even less so. But the guys that saying 2 million or 1 million and then 20 million, like Michael Saylor, it is doing a bent banana, guys. Bitcoin is doing the bent banana. By the way, we were the first with that phrase, and then it got copied, and someone else started saying it all the time, and we walked away from it. This is Bitcoin, BTC USDT, and here we go, monthly. Let's just show you the Bitcoin chart. We want Bitstamp. So we'll take the T out and go stamp, and I'm going to switch all of this off. I'm going to hide that box as well. This is what I mean when I say bent banana. The rate of ascent, let's try that line again. Let's draw the curve. The rate of ascent is calming down. That's very low volatility right here. It's a problem. It could lead to a spiller. So yes, you could do 150. You're not going up to 2 million or 20 million, as Michael Saylor suggested. 1 million and then 20 million. I think he said 1 million next year and 20 million by 2033. This is not how you would go. Whoops, let's try to draw a good line. Let's start again. Here's your banana. So the difference between these highs were huge multiples. That was 20,000. 20K. Yep. Oh, are we sharing screen? Let's go back and share screen. Francis must remember. Let's see. Share screen. Here it comes. Here comes the share screen. There we go. Let's show it. We're not sharing screen. There's your bent banana on Bitcoin. That is your 20K. That is 64 and 69K. You kind of double top there. That is only, I say only, given its previous standards, just over 3.2, 3.3. difference multiple. Down here, you were at the high. What was the high? It was 1,000. That was 20x. Approximately. We don't need to be overly accurate about this. And right now you are at a high of 126 is your current high, 126, which on 69 is not even double. It's 1.8-ish. So 70 times 7 is 140. Yeah. So you're at about 1.8, 1.85, maybe 1.9. I don't care to work it out accurately. But what you are seeing, now if you got to 150, you would maybe get a 2. So you get a 2.1 out of a 3.3 out of a 20. The amount of money that needs to come in to take this to higher level is getting ever, ever higher. And a whole bunch of wallets, legacy wallets that would have been the NSA insiders, have all been stepping down and selling into retail who's buying the Bitcoin ETF through BlackRock who's selling it to them. That's right. So they've told you Lars Finkelstein is running the biggest ETF manufacturing company, and that's now got, after Satoshi wallets, by the way, how many times have we said this prediction? This has been going for about 5 years. We've said at some point in the future, our best guess is that BlackRock will assume custody of the Satoshi Nakamoto wallet and use it for the grander good of fighting anti-Semitism, supporting the trans community, the persecution of the trans and LGBTQ community. It will form as a trust to work for the greater good for a more equitable society at some point in the future. Because the owner has clearly disappeared. You've had a notice to show up and claim your coins, and no credible person has provided and been able to move a Bitcoin to say he's still out there. It can only be assumed he's died. There's no living will. And as a result, it's a significant portion, and it should be taken into due care by a big player, a custodian. You know, that's been our prediction. It's been our prediction for 5 years. What should happen? It either will or it won't. It's a very out there. No one's made that prediction, even now. And we made it 5 years ago. Watch it. I think it's high probability, given the extremity of what I'm suggesting. Most people would suggest that's very small. Most maxis would say, impossible, impossible, it'll never happen. Okay? The toxic maxis, that is your bent banana. How do you get to suddenly 20 trillion in market cap? You're suddenly going to be doing this, and then you're going to go, you know, hey, we're a 2.2 trillion asset. Now we've got to go to 1 million from 100. You're going to go to 22 trillion. You've struggled to get 2 trillion in here. The Chinese ain't buying it. The Russians aren't buying it. The Euro people, their central banks aren't buying Bitcoin. Whenever they confiscate it from criminals, they sell it. They sell it. They sell it. They don't want it. Why don't they want it? Europe doesn't want it. China doesn't want it. Russia doesn't want it. Governments, El Salvador, you know, the Latin America, the tiniest country controlled by Latin America, those little countries that get propped up by the US, like Argentina recently, Bitcoin for a while, paid off some debt and now done. That isn't an endorsement. That's actually works against the argument that Bitcoin is not a US, NSA, Mossad, Zio, digital fantasy Japanese little friend money. That's it, friends. It's not that. This is super low vol, and it's a shooting star. Look at that. That is not bullish. That can precede a collapse. Let's divide Bitcoin by how many gold ounces. Now it touched 41. In other words, you would need 41 gold ounces to secure yourself the imaginary Japanese friend's money. What's happening to that now? It's even more bent a banana. It's even more of a bent banana. So I would say to you, imaginary Japanese friend, magic internet digital money has had its big moment in terms of gold ounces, and gold is a much bigger market cap. You're talking about something that's knocking on the door of 30. It's at about probably 28 trillion. And we've shown you that this is also, let's put the eye back on, losing ground against gold. It's losing ground. And gold just had a sell-off. Gold just had a sell-off. This is convexity. This is called rounding top. This has failed to meaningfully surpass the previous top. It only went a tiny bit higher, 41. It is now at 27. You've fallen from 41 ounces, 40.77 ounces to buy you 1 Bitcoin of gold, to 27.32. Now, don't get me wrong. From when Bitcoin existed, this has been a Bitcoin story and gold was suppressed. Yep. And they pumped it. The difficult work comes pumping from 2.2 trillion, because only big money can move 2.2 trillion to 28 trillion, like gold. And you know what? The big money knows something. They know something. And they ain't coming. It's retail money going into ETFs. Yes, it's retail money and Bitcoin maxis on the Twitter algorithm that are telling you, rotation trade. That's what you're hearing, friends. That's what you're hearing. Let's make sure again that we are showing screen. Yes, we are. We're getting it right for once. Hey. So bear this in mind. I've drawn a grind line. I've changed the grind line. It's already broken a few grind lines to the downside. I keep changing it to try disprove. I've drawn a new one. It had one over here. This is the thing with lines. Everyone will draw their own one. Had one there already. It's already fallen. It's already fallen. That comes right the way back from all the way here, all the way along. You've broken that line. Let me put that as a dotted one. You've broken. This is a potential head and shoulders. Not perfect, potential head and shoulders. You're a bit deeper on the dip here. And I'm seeing gold getting potentially a bit of basing. I think it can sell one more time a little bit, but not nearly as much. And then basing. Bitcoin looks like it's ready for another leg of selling. I've mentioned the levels to you at 108, 193. You started that analysis with you on that. So the maximalists are not your friends. The statists are not your friends, but they may go up. That's the status tokens. These are the ones that have courted the central banks, the banking system. They will be the railway lines of your new financial system. Bitcoin, in terms of utility, is neither fast or cheap in the crypto realm. It's the least fast and it's the least affordable. That is not a volume financial money moving system. And everyone will go, oh, but Lightning Network. The Microsoft workers, the trustworthy people from Bill Gates's company have put another layer on top of another layer on top of. If you want to buy stories like that, carry on. Otherwise, I would say no. So let's just stop the share screen and have a look at some of your comments. We have 301. 301 on a Friday? Where are all you guys? No love? No likey? 113 likes for Francie on his Friday? Oh, I'm hurt by that. I have a sensitive disposition. Don't you think they will try to transfer 401ks to crypto and then dump it down to zero? They need 401ks first in the bond market to hold up the bond market. They're already pulling this Cayman hustle of creating fake demand for dollar-denominated debt assets. So they definitely need to directly support the Ponzi. By the way, for those that go, and here's another thing that needs debunking. Those that go, but the crypto market means you buy Tether, and Tether means Tether buys the debt market. Okay, so let's just again do the maths. USDT Tether is the largest, longest originalist stable coin. There are others, I know, but let's just talk about the very biggest one. Okay, the very, very biggest one has accumulated 163 billion in all its years of existence in treasuries. 163 billion. That's what we're told. That's what's being shared. 163 billion is not even a third of the amount of new issuance, and is 17th largest. It's around 17th of buyers of treasuries. It's well behind the Cayman Islands, which is a far bigger, has 1.8 trillion in, that tiny little thing. We covered that in a Substack post, by the way, and how they're doing a basis trade and how the primary dealers are lending through the repo markets, allowing hedge funds to roll loans on a day-to-day basis. Every morning they are renewing the loan. and paying a charge again. The Ponzi-onomics is off the charts on sustaining. They are waiting their gematria-specific special day for the crash. It's kind of like a 9/11. It's a kind of this. This thing is so ready to fall. They're pulling so many tricks to maintain it. We've got so many landmines planted in this financial system. The controlled demolition is ready. The plunger is here. You know, they're waiting for their key day to drop the plunger. And stable coins, and you'll get the likes of Brent Johnson that are suddenly talking about the magic stable coins. You see the demand for treasuries. Rubbish. You did 163 in a decade and a half, and these guys just issued 4 times that in 30 days. You don't catch a parabola that started before you and is running faster than you. It's kind of, I put a lane for a cheetah and I start the race and off he runs, and I put a meat rabbit that I'm dragging at 150 kilometers an hour for him to chase and smell. And you aren't even getting off your couch, and somehow you're going to start later. You're going to take 15 years to do what this cheetah is doing in minutes, and you're catching the cheetah. It doesn't happen. You don't start an avalanche with a snowball on the steepest mountain, rolling halfway down the hill, definitely going to smash the village down below, and stop it. You don't run after it and be Superman, fly over it and hold it all back and save the village. That's fantasy. That's complete fantasy. It's hitting the village. You know, I give so many metaphors for this. You don't jump into the super tube. That's a vertical super tube that ends in the swimming pool and stop halfway down. It's slippery, it's wet, and you're going at 45, 50 kilometers an hour. There's nothing to grab. It's a lubricated tube. You're going at the speed of the water. You're hitting the pool. You know, some things that haven't happened are still certainties, and that's called mathematics. It's called physics and mathematics. You jump out the plane without a parachute. You're hitting the ground. You know, it's a fact. It's a fact. The fact that you're in the air, it's maybe, no, maybe nothing. Maybe nothing. It's over. You're hitting the ground. You can hit the sea if you're over the sea. You can hit the beach. You can hit a building, but you're hitting something that is based on the ground, and you're dying. You know, unless you've got an amazing air pontoon and you're a stuntman that set this whole thing up and you know how to steer, you're dying. You know, there is no Superman event here. There is no undoing mathematics and physics. This thing is going to collapse. That is the key thing. And stable coins cannot buy $1 trillion every 2 months. No ways. And that's the rate of issuance. They've taken 15 years to buy 0.16 of $1 trillion. 15 years. Do you want to catch that cheetah? Good luck. He's chasing a piece of meat and he's running at 67 kilometers per hour. And you're an hour and a half late. You better get your jogging shoes on and hope that he stops for a rest. Okay. So forget all of these 5D chess, smart Donald Trump winning for you. There's a lot of these phony, captured, badass, dishonest, controlled opposition. Smash the likes. 151 likes. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. You'll be reminded if you hit the like of future streams. So to summarize, did you enjoy TAO? That is the trade. Bitcoin is a bent banana. It is possibly even reversing against gold. Possibly. No, we don't say absolutely, but it's not looking good. It's losing its rate of momentum. TAO was the trade, which may give you some upside love. And it was MEXC that we liked it best, I think. So that was that one. And now you would be getting into it. So someone would look at that and say, you can't chase that candle. Well, you see, we gave you the mechanism of how. You will miss out potentially on a Forex, but don't do anything if you're not. This is non-advisory. We're just talking about what we do in terms of a community. You could have been in this a lot earlier. If you were in the community, there's a link for you to book. So we're already in the money. You're thinking about maybe do I do this? Well, remember, own your own outcomes. I'm not responsible for your P&L, but that is a great little stop. That is a great little stop. You can do that right there, like that. I don't know why it didn't choose the other one. Oh yeah, it's tiny bit. So a little bit of a squeezer there, and your stop could be there at the below there, 390, and you're in there. But you'd have to know how to size to take that level of loss that represents a small amount of loss on your account. What's small? Depends on your risk and your certainty. You know, it could be 0.5 to 5%, depending on your confidence. We know where we stand. It's not for me to advise you on that. It's not an advisory channel. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that. That's TAO. That is telling you the Bitcoin maxis are walking back their determined view on Bitcoin dominance only being up and everything else being a shitcoin, and how you must rely on them. That's taken them years of being in the game. They're the experts. The one token, the one internet company. Remember the .com? There's only one internet company. It'll do everything. It'll be your one internet company. You got your one token company, the first one. It's the best. You know, like a penny farthing is the best bicycle. You know, did you walk outside the building and see all those people on penny farthings? Did you? Did you? The Model T Ford. Did you drive? Did you go for a little drive in your Model T Ford? You don't have a Model T Ford? How can you have anything else? They are all shit cars. You should be driving a Model T Ford and sitting. How many chairs are you sitting on? How many chairs are you sitting on? Portfolio theories, bullshit, man. You only sit on one chair. You only sit. How many microphones am I using? These are the clowns, the deceivers. These are the people that say the first iteration is the best iteration. These are the things that need debunking, and we vociferously do it in the name of protecting people from tropes, absolute tropes. And we hope you appreciate us for that, because we're interested in welfare and providing an alternative view that doesn't get the support of the algorithm like Maximalists does. And if you think you want more truth out there, help us get more voice by sharing. If you want to be part of our community, click the link below, book a call. Until next time, I thank you for watching, and we'll speak then. Bye for now. Yeah, the screen share didn't come. It's okay.